Good afternoon, Robert Scribbler. It is August 14th, 2018. Thank you for joining me for another climate change and clean energy video blog. Now, for this segment, I'm going to talk about some very extreme conditions that have recently cropped up in the Glacier National Park region of Montana in the United States. But first, to set the scene, I'd just like to note that Glacier National Park has seen rapid melt of glaciers due to human-forced climate change related to global warming. And as temperatures have increased across the U.S. West, we have seen glaciers melt more and more rapidly. During recent days, we have seen a number of extreme conditions across the region. But before I talk about that, I'd like to talk a bit about this map. This is a Google Earth map of Glacier National Park, and some of the landmarks that I'd like to point out are the central region of Glacier National Park here in the upper section of the map, Lake McDonald in the central region here, an area to the north and west of Lake McDonald called Kelly Camp, and West Glacier, which is on the southern side of Lake McDonald. So during recent days, we have seen an influx of extreme warm temperatures running north along the western and central parts of the US and up into Canada. And this influx of extreme heat pushed temperatures above the century mark in numerous locations close to the border with Canada and north of the Canadian border. But in particular, West Glacier saw a new all-time record high temperature on August 11th of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is at a glacier site in Montana at a relatively high elevation that is typically or historically seen a large mass of frozen ice. And the old records were 99 degrees Fahrenheit set in 1969 and 1990. On August 11th, according to this report from NOAA, this record was shattered. And it was also the first time that a 100-degree reading was observed at this location since record keeping began in 1948. This statistic pointed out by Guy Walton, who also produces a very helpful climate blog and climate change-based Twitter feed. So I'd just like to flip over to the satellite shot for August 10th for Glacier National Park. Now, this is a live satellite shot provided by NASA. And I'm going to go ahead and collapse this side window here. This line to the north is the border with Canada. And this region here is Lake McDonald with West Glacier in this region here and the center of Glacier National Park here. So the image is notably a bit blurrier because it's a real-time image based on various features, and you can see some occlusion due to wildfire smoke coming from the western wildfires in the region. I'm just going to go ahead and advance this frame. And so on August 11th, we had some thunderstorms pop up following the peak heating of the day with extraordinarily high temperatures, record temperatures at West Glacier, as we noted before. And then on August 12th, we see a wildfire beginning to burn north of Lake McDonald. Now, just keep an eye on this. I'm going to get back to that. We also see a number of other wildfires cropping up in the region, some large wildfires in both Idaho and northern Montana, as well as a wildfire complex to the south of Glacier National Park here. But moving on to August 13th, which is yesterday, we see the fire north of Lake McDonald, which has been identified as the Howe Ridge Fire, explode to cover a large landmass and to emit a massive plume of smoke running up around Glacier National Park. So what we have seen is that extreme high temperatures and record high temperatures have come in conjunction with a wildfire burning in Glacier National Park. So think about that for a second. I mean, Glacier National Park essentially is burning, and the trigger for one of the primary triggers for this wildfire event were extreme temperatures on August 11th, and these extreme temperatures, extreme record high temperatures and record heat are associated with human-caused climate change. So I'm going to go ahead and drill down a bit more here. Just want to show you some pictures of the Glacier National Park fire. This one provided by GRIST and Climate Central, showing the Howe Ridge Fire burning across Lake McDonald. And also this image here provided by local KPAX, showing Glacier National Park on fire due to the Howe Ridge Fire burning. Presently, the Howe Ridge Fire has burned over 2,500 acres according to recent reports as of noon Eastern Daylight Time today, and that numerous structures, including those in Kelly Camp to the north and west of Lake McDonald, have been burned. And some of these buildings are historic and have been a feature of Glacier National Park for some time. So just going back to these wildfires, I'd just like to say that these fires in Glacier National Park are not occurring in isolation. They are occurring as part of a larger global temperature trend that includes new record temperatures being set around the globe with increasing frequency. And this is in association with impacts primarily due to fossil fuel burning and increased greenhouse gases, primarily in an elevation of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere. These impacts, including increasing wildfire intensity across the U.S. West, were predicted by climate scientists, and unfortunately, with global temperatures now in the range of 1 to 1.2 degrees Celsius above normal, we are starting to see these impacts, even as broader regional and global climate impacts begin to take hold, to include warming in the North and Eastern Pacific, sea ice melt to the north, and Greenland melt to the northeast, as it relates to the North American climate zone and larger global impacts that we see now apparently on a daily basis. So, as a recap, Glacier National Park is burning, and yes, human-caused climate change does have an influence. Thank you for joining me, and I'll be chatting with you soon.